election if you're the nominee for your party?
I will be the nominee for my party, Chris. That is already done, in effect. There is no way that I won't be.
Does that make you mad seeing that?
Just a tinge arrogant.
He was in Congress for years. He had one senator support him. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to work with him. He got nothing done.
Democratic Party here tonight, Mr. Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders is running, yeah, that's right.
You know, I saw Bernie's message and I said, this is the right direction.
If he ran great 4 years ago.
Bernie Sanders brought enormous energy and new ideas, and he pushed the party.
He's out there, he fights from the heart. This is who Bernie is, and he has put the right issues on the table.
I agree completely with Bernie about what the fundamental challenge we're facing as a country is.
I want to give credit to Bernie.
I'm a big Bernie Sanders supporter.
I support Bernie Sanders to be our next president and commander-in-chief.
I love Bernie supporters. I love Bernie. Bernie's a national hero that's helped move the country in the right direction.
Thank you to Senator Sanders for his amazing leadership on this.
You know, I also want to recognize the work that Bernie has done on this.
You brought us this far on Medicare for All. I support Medicare for All. I always have.
Yes, I'm with Bernie on Medicare for All.
I support Senator Sanders' Medicare for All bill.
You go for universal health care.
At least Bernie's being honest here and saying how he's going to pay for this.
Well, I will say Bernie is a very honest person.
You know, if Bernie Sanders never said he was a democratic socialist, based on what he's saying, people wouldn't be calling him a democratic socialist. That's how he characterizes himself. But it's relatively new for Hillary to talk about that. Hillary's focus has been on other things up to now, and that's been Bernie's. No one questions Bernie's authenticity on those issues.
And they question hers, you think?
Well, I think they question everybody's who hasn't been talking about it all along.
I think people are ready for a call to action. They want to move forward. They want to have honest leadership who cares about them, who thinks about them first, who isn't going down to Washington so that they can get a bunch of fancy steak dinners and have doors open for them and drive around in limousines and buy fancy suits, which you know you don't have to worry about with Bernie. Where do you get that suit, man? Right off the rack. What they want? They want somebody who's going to fight for them. Somebody who's going to say, you know what? Let's have a prescription drug plan that's written on behalf of the people of America instead on behalf of the prescription drug companies. Why don't we try something like that?
I will say this, we are philosophically different, but Bernie was an honest man.
So what was he like to work with? Negotiate
Explosive.
with? Explosive?
But I'm
Tough?
always the most mild-mannered.
I know, really. This is from
Between
you?
the two of us, we had.
That must have been fun.
I've said for a long time, I like and respect Bernie Sanders because he's honest, he's candid.
He's an authentic guy. I think he's an honest guy.
Bernie is being honest about this.
Just ditto what he said.
More agreement. More agreement.
All right, a lot of agreement. And they will find it in Bernie, and they'll find it in Peter. You will find it in these two gentlemen back here. And you don't have to take my word for it because you know these guys. You've seen what they do.
I am truly honored to nominate Bernie Sanders for President of the United States.
Why do you think the response to the problem you've talked about of low incomes, why do people then jump to a Le Pen or a Trump rather than to Bernie Sanders or to the solution you would advocate?
They jump to Bernie Sanders. The most remarkable thing about the last election was actually Bernie Sanders, not Trump. Bernie Sanders broke with a century of American political history. In American elections back to the late 19th century, elections are basically bought, literally. You can predict with remarkable accuracy electability simply on the basis of campaign funding and also policies. There's very substantial political science research on this. Sanders came along, no support from the corporate sector, no support from the wealthy. The media simply dismissed him as ridiculous. He was basically unknown. He even used a scare word, socialist. And he would have won the Democratic nomination if it hadn't been for the shenanigans of the party managers. If you take a look at popularity today, he is far and away the most popular figure in the American political system.
Right. I want to thank Bernie Sanders. Bernie, your campaign inspired millions of Americans, particularly the young people who threw their hearts and souls into our primary. You've put economic and social justice issues front and center where they belong. And to all of your supporters here and around the country, I want you to know, I've heard you. Your cause is our cause. Our country needs your ideas, energy, and passion. That is the only way we can turn our progressive platform into real change for America.